first generation of kids who came, of age during the sort of divorce culture. So there's now finally some research about that entire generation, and we were able to sort of, piece together the terminology as we went.
I think it might become official because I called a friend of mine right after seeing the film.
Yeah.
And she can't wait till the film comes out because the way I described it,
Yeah.
she said, that's my life.
Yeah.
And
we
so,
keep saying it's the club that you didn't know you belonged to.
right.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about this movie? This only validated. Before I was 90% sure. Now I'm 98% sure I'm not going to be married.
Yeah.
Because I saw everything coming, but it was still funny to me because I'm like, that's why. That's why. I never. But it was interesting because you could see what's going on with everything, and for someone who knows who's not going to ever be married,
right.
and to be that lone minority guy, especially in the entertainment world, who's
yeah.
not going to be married.
Yeah.
I had fun laughing at these people
good.
because I know I didn't have to go through that stuff.
I don't want the movie just to be for it's. At the end of the day, the intention was not for the movie to be solely about divorce. I think that the message of the movie at the end is that whether you're from married parents, divorced parents, whatever, however you came about, you're not destined to repeat the patterns of your parents. We're free, as I put it, we're free to make our own mistakes. And I think that, so much of becoming an adult is when you stop blaming, your past. So to me, that's kind of what the movie becomes about.
Tell us about the casting process. I mean, those characters were like, they jumped off the page.
Right? It started with Adam. I really wanted to find like an anti-hero. I kept thinking of the movie as an anti-romantic comedy. I kept thinking like every time we would come to a beat that was a romantic comedy beat, we would try and figure out a way to sort of invert it, a little bit like the marriage proposal beat, right? It's not really a marriage proposal, it's a key. Even beats like, in most standard romantic comedies, later on in the movie when he almost hooks up with Jessica's character, people will come to me after seeing the movie and they'll say, how come he didn't get caught? Like, there's no, and I'm like, well, that's real life. Like, people don't get caught, in romantic comedies they get caught. And so Adam to me was a classic anti-hero. Like, he's got a very cynical, sort of funny point of view on things, and I just love that for this movie. And once I got Adam, I started looking to, people I just really loved, like Richard Jenkins was an actor I loved, and I thought he hadn't done a role like this since Flirting with Disaster, and we got him, and once you start to get those kinds of people, it starts to roll, and I went after some comedy people like Jane and Amy to play parts that were not, straightforward funny, and tried to get them to sort of, go a little deeper with it, and it just worked out so well.
And Adam and Amy are actually married on Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Did that come up at all? That it was kind of weird for her to play the stepmom?
I think it was, but they're just so, they're good friends, and they're just so professional, and she's so amazing. I think Amy can do anything in the world.
This must have been a major dynamic shift for them in
this
role.
Yeah, and especially, we didn't have any rehearsal time, so she would just walk in and, but what was good about that part was it wasn't written to be funny, so she was playing something that wasn't necessarily that funny, and she brought humor and intelligence to it. The two of them are hilarious together.
In the writing of the script, was there a focus where that you didn't want to get off of it, or because I know you keep saying anti whatever, but
yeah.
I mean, the question really is, was it hard to stay focused on the way you shot it?
Well, the focus of the script, I'll tell you, the biggest balance was always striking a balance between, for Carter, where you as an audience member wouldn't go, get over it, dude. Like every time we would write something, because, again, like he has no cancer, he doesn't have, he's been beaten, he's just a product of this divorced family, and there are times where we would be writing stuff and be like, I think the audience here might actually turn on us and stop rooting for him. It's very important that you root for him in the movie. And so that was where in the script the real balance was struck. In making the movie, for me, it was all about tone. Like I said, I didn't want to go too far into funny. There's a lot of stuff I didn't put in the movie that was improv stuff that was so funny, but it just took me out of the... I felt like we had to stay with the streamlined story. And if we got too funny or too serious at any point, would be fun.
Would you consider a sequel if this was successful enough? Because I was thinking, okay, maybe some of these guys are, I don't know, but the way you ended it with those testimonials, that got deep. It was real. It was those people were real. That was
I have a regret with the testimonials. The very last one, I ended on a down note, which I didn't mean to do. I just, at the time I was cutting it, I felt like I wanted to put this sort of. At the time I was cutting it, I was like feeling kind of cynical about marriage in general, and I just decided to end it on the down note. But
it was effective, man.
I don't think there's a sequel. Although at one of the screenings in New York, Christy Brinkley came up to me and she said, "I think we should do a sequel. I have lots of stories for you about divorce." That's what's been the fun for me since Sundance. Pretty much I've taken the movie all around the country and around the world, and it has been really fun for people coming up to me and saying, like, I didn't realize like I was part of this thing, and my parents got divorced when I was well, but they started telling me their stories, and it's kind of funny. I mean, I'm not a shrink in any way, shape, or form. I have no answers for anybody, but it's been fun.
So this being your first feature film, and when you look at like the poster and you see all these names, is that like surreal to you, sort of? Or
yeah, the whole thing's surreal. I mean, I've spent so long trying to get the movie made, and now that when I see it, and the other night Adam was on Jay Leno, and they showed a clip of the movie, and Jay Leno was saying A.C.O.D, and I was like, this is just crazy, because you spend so many times as a writer, you spend so many years, you write movies, and you actually stop writing them to make them, because you just don't think they'll ever. You write them for the paycheck, and you stop thinking that they'll ever get made, and this one I just always believed we could do it and make it and find a way, and to have come this far, and just it's going to be out in the world, and it's just so gratifying for me.
Well, when you shot the movie, was the emphasis on I have to do it according to the budget, or you just shot it the way you needed to shoot and just hope the budget fit in there?
Oh no, I have a TV background as a showrunner, so and on TV we're very careful about ever going into an episode where you don't have the script down to size, where you can't really get it done in the 7 or 8 days you're shooting it, because you're just really jeopardizing your material if you can't get it. So we cut this movie down to like 98 pages. I mean, it was a 110-page script when we started, and we actually went through. Ben and I took out an entire character, probably our favorite character in the movie. It was the stepsister character, who I love, Chloe, and we took her out. Just went right through the movie and took out the entire through line, and it brought the movie down by about 10 pages. And we just had to bring it down to size, because otherwise, and even down to size, I mean, we're still shooting, 14-hour days, but we had 24 days, that was it.
I think you're a great showrunner. One of my favorite shows was Lights Out.
Oh, yeah.
I just kept it because I thought it was just brilliant. Talk about how tough it is to be a showrunner and the writing and talking about the Americans.
Well, running a TV show is actually harder than being a director because you're just doing so many things. And the hardest part is you have to keep writing while you're making stuff. We're just about to start prep on season 2 of The Americans, and we banked like 5 scripts, but in about a month we're just going to be completely under. I love TV, and I learned so much from TV, and so many things about because you spend so much time with the crew, with the actors in the editing room, everything, and you're changing on the fly. So it's great training for making an indie movie. I felt total confidence I could make a movie in 24 days. Mostly because of my experience making TV.
Would you jump at the chance of making this a show? Because it'd probably be pretty popular.
Yeah, I probably would.
Because all these folks are coming to you with stories.
Yeah. You'd
have more than enough for, many episodes.
It'd be a great TV show, you're right. You're right, at the club.
Yeah.
I'm very, right now, I'm after having made a divorce movie, I'm very interested in marriage, which is why I'm working on The Americans. The Americans to me is a show about a marriage. I love sort of where we are as a culture, marriage and all the sort of I think there's a very interesting and almost dishonest national discussion about marriage. Like I think it's evolved to a point where it's almost, like you said, like a lot of people don't want to get married. We have kids out of wedlock. It doesn't make a difference. Gay parents, not gay parents. Like it just doesn't. And I think that I'd love to work on something next. About marriage versus divorce.
Well, you know what I like about it is that, remember the show Love American Style?
Yeah.
Well, everything was lovey-dovey.
Yeah.
Yours would be the exact opposite.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
wow.
Unloved.
One more question, guys.
Who gets married at the end in your mind? Because I was like, oh, they're gonna have this three-way wedding
Yeah.
or something. That's kind of like.
God, I played around that ending 100 different ways. I shot it with the intention of not revealing who was getting married. Every time we would adjust it a tiny little bit, tiny little edit here, we would do these test screenings, and the audience would be like, oh, it's Carter, oh, it's, Clark's character, oh, it's Richard. And I kept playing with it because I liked the idea of not revealing who it was. The most important thing for me with the movie was getting the characters to the place where it could be any of them, right?
Yeah.
That they've all evolved to a place where it could be any of them, and I like that as like the ending of the movie. But when people pin me down, I say it's a group wedding.